Let us explore. You struggle, eagles glide, meditation can too. This lesson is drawn from the 28th passage of the meditation classic Great Garuda in Flight, composed so many centuries ago by the great Buddhist reformer Prahe Vajra. Excuse me, I must reach for something. Oh, goodness. All right, so first things first, let's tap button 7. And then get the camera squared away so that no one feels like they're falling off a cliff. Excellent. And okay, close enough for government work. Like the great, oopsie, one moment. Like the great Garuda, or eagle, soaring in open space without elaboration or any comprehensions. Pristine awareness does not aim for anything, nor is it afraid to lose anything. So, what is the cultural significance of the eagle? Eagles spend less time actively flying and more time just simply riding thermals. That is an excellent metaphor for an effortless practice. For this to make sense, I'm going to switch from this teaching text to a set of visual aids. Now, both this teaching text as well as the visual aids are available for free downloads as PDFs. And what do I want to do? Yes, I'm going to click button 9. There are two ways we can do everything. We can go through life using our amygdala's anxiety as our guiding star, or we can go through life using our anterior cingulate gyrus's empathy as our guiding star. When we use empathy as our guiding star, we tend to be flexible, loving, rational, laid-back, egalitarian, lucid, cooperative kind. However, when we use anxiety as our guiding star, we tend to be rigid, fearful, superstitious, controlling, elitist, cryptic, competitive, and cruel. Sadly, Sturgeon's law reminds us that 90% of everything sucks. Therefore, it should not surprise us when 90% of meditation books or 90% of meditation teachers implore us to actively focus, actively analyze. Overusing our dorsolateral and medial prefrontal cortex will induce us to present with symptoms of depression. No less trigger our amygdala, the seat of anxiety and aggression. Fortunately, neither the amygdala nor the prefrontal cortex constitute the entirety of our central nervous system. Consider the simple spinal cord. Its fancy name is the nexus of our autonomic nervous system. You see, every time we breathe in, we have evolved to automatically access the middle bit of our spinal cord, which is known as the nexus of our sympathetic nervous system, and has evolved to help us to notice in a special way, to help us to notice vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly mind's antics of seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, smelling, and the like, including the full spectrum of human emotions, intentions, cognitions, recollections, and imaginings. All manner of them, from the external to the internal, from the physical to the mental, from the pleasurable to the painful, from the interesting to the boring, from the glorious to the grotesque. Well, that sounds like it could be occasionally uncomfortable. What are we to do with these discomforts? Every time we exhale, we have evolved to automatically access the end bits of our spinal cord, like bookends on a shelf. This is known as the nexus of our parasympathetic nervous system, and has evolved to support both our physical relaxation as well as our mental release, to such a degree that which we noticed during our previous inhalation could fleetingly feel less stressful, less permanent, and less defining. In every human culture, we see the use of figures of speech. We also see that in the Buddha's teachings. Consider this. We will begin with review. As we relax into our exhalation, that which we noticed during our previous inhalation, and here's the the simile, could fleetingly feel as non-graspable as a vast empty void, like the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which, although could look tantalizing to the eye, feels non-graspable to the hand. So we see that emptiness is just a metaphor for the fleeting experience latent within each inhalation. So I've given a lot of information, and now I wish to give you a hook to hang your hat on. Mindfulness, which is simply noticing mind's antics, is easiest practiced by silently and mentally reciting the verb watch each time we feel our lungs swell with breath. Meditation, which is simply relaxing into mind's non-graspable nature, is best practiced by silently and mentally reciting the verb rest each time we feel our chest sink. Now let's tie this back to the metaphor found in the opening passage, the opening lesson. Consider, if you will, a sparrow beating its wings furiously as it flies from tree to tree. Contrast that with the effortlessness of an eagle riding thermals, just kicking back very high in the sky. When we exhaust ourselves, actively focusing, actively analyzing, it is a form of flight, like the sparrow beating its wings furiously to get from one branch to another. But it doesn't compare to the effortlessness by which an eagle simply rides the thermals. The inference is that it's better to be an eagle than a sparrow. It's better to be the predator than the prey. For a prey has to look both for its next meal, as well as that which might be making it into its next meal, whereas the predator only has to worry about his next meal. So in other words, a predator's life is arguably an easier life than that of the prey. Now, does that mean we have to kick down the doors of various meditation centers and commit various and sundry acts of cannibalism? Please don't, for such things are frowned upon in polite society. The lesson is simple. No one looks at a beautiful eagle riding thermals, shakes their head, points a finger at the eagle, and scolds it for being lazy. Au contraire, we watch the eagle in the sky, effortlessly riding thermals, and we feel a pang of envy. I know what it's like to squander hours and days and months and years focusing and analyzing, only to grow in anxiety and aggression. I also know what it's like to have the very good fortune to be taught the opposite. And from personal experience, I would say that decades spent passively cooperating with my autonomic nervous system have been the most fulfilling. They've helped me to deal with my disabilities, including my complex post-traumatic stress disorder. It doesn't rewrite the past. It doesn't rewrite DNA, but it helps us to cope. It helps us to become the people that our dogs already think we are. Let's return to this morning's lesson text. We could begin with a spot of review. Like the Great Garuda eagle soaring in open space, without elaboration or any comprehensions, pristine awareness does not aim for anything, nor is it afraid to lose anything. So, those who take anxiety as their North Star will tell us that that if we meditate without a thorough mastery of doctrine, then we will take rebirth in hell. I kid you not, that's what's taught. But that's not what the Buddha taught. The Buddha taught in the second to the final passage of his discourse on the 4 bases of mindfulness that one could master his path in as little as 7 days. No PhD required. We can be as dumb as a doorknob. We can be as dumb as Homer Simpson. Dope. And still, if we passively cooperate with our autonomic nervous system, noticing and relaxing in coordination with our inhalations and our exhalations, we cannot help but master the wisdom of letting go, as well as love, the highest love, which is spontaneous and uncontrived, as well as the flow state, wherein our choices, utterances, and deeds flow not from contrived, calculated contrivance or wild scatteredness, but from centered spontaneity. So peace and love and flow come to us through the effortless practice, the effortless path of watching and resting. Before I studied meditation, I studied hypnosis and neuro-linguistic programming and even neuro-associative conditioning. And they were all very yang. They were all very goal-oriented. What do you want? What's it going to look like when you accomplish that goal? What's it going to feel like? Okay, let's contrive those feelings, and you'll have the goal. Sounds great on paper, works terrible in reality. It makes us rigid and controlling and miserable. It is but an analog of spiritual growth. Having been indoctrinated into that worldview, I was terrified at the thought of the simple path of just cooperating with my autonomic nervous system. It wasn't until I exhausted myself doing everything patriarchy taught me to do that I saw its fruitlessness, that I saw it as merely an analog of success, that I began to consider other paths, the path of yin, the path of matriarchy, the path of taking love as our North Star. The pristine awareness of watching and resting in harmony with our breathing. It's not driven by avarice. It is not driven by aversion. It's not driven by dread. It's not driven by desire. Those things come and go. They come and go like a bird flying overhead, rather than a bird making its nest on your scalp. And so, armed with the habit of watching and resting, we are free of the tyranny of the duality of hope and fear. Having completed this morning's opening lesson, we can now shift gears. It is Luke Skywalker Friday morning. Come, let us meditate like a Jedi after about 30 seconds of housekeeping. This is the Dzogchen Semde Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. For more than 30 years, I have harnessed my autistic special interests as well as my ADHD hyperfocus to spend about 8 hours a day, almost every day, studying, practicing, mastering, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of each school of meditation so that I could become your personal, nerdy, neurodivergent guide to nirvana. Welcome, my friends, to meditate like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers just like you. For the remainder of this morning's live stream, let's simply watch and rest in coordination with our breathing. If you, like me, are prone to arthritis, you are welcome to gently adjust your legs once every 15 minutes or so. The moment you have a specific question about Buddhist meditation or philosophy, do not hesitate to type your question in great detail in the chat window, for I tend to check for questions about every 5 minutes or so. You have taken your first step into a much larger world. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. In approximately 11 hours, I would very much like to return to lead today's evening meditation class and group practice. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you always.